And looking towards Love and Thunder, the new direction seems quite strange from the character whose story is about as completed as Captain America or Tony Stark's is, or at least it should be. I can't really see many possible directions for Thor in the new film where he's supposedly going to find himself. It makes you really wonder what the last several films have been for, apart from just reaffirming what he already knew after Endgame, or even after Ragnarok, which makes the whole journey pointless, or giving up the hero and kingly mantle for a more diverse pair to go off on another little adventure with the Guardians, maybe in their third film, I don't know. Or he could just die, or Jane Foster could just die. I guess that's the big mystery of Thor 4, really. Just how badly are they going to mess this up? Well, me from last video, apparently pretty badly. I've seen the film now, so let's actually talk about that now. Hey everybody, I'm Caliga, and welcome to my review of Thor, Love and Thunder, which I saw yesterday. I think it's coming out in most places this day when I'm filming it, the 8th of July. Came out in the UK and probably some other places on the 7th. I went to see it in Leeds. Good day out overall, but I made that whole video yesterday. The first part, which you've just seen, which that was the opening sketch. We just did that meme. But I like I said in I wrote it a little bit in the description. I did on the 6th. I did a whole day of, because I should have done it on the Tuesday as well. I should have spread this. The research for this video across 2 days, and then maybe the video would have been more time appropriate because the film's already been out. Probably anyone who would have maybe had any interest in that video has probably already seen Love and Thunder. But hey ho, this is how we do things when we're Caliga off the cuff, which is what this is right now. I'm just speaking from the heart. I don't often do this without a script because I'm a mumbling idiot. But I have some notes, and I have the plot synopsis of the film because I can't. But it comes out today in the US. But it was pushed forward for UK anyway. So what was I talking about? So yeah, I did a full day. We're gonna get in. This is a little story. This is Caliga's dedication to seeing shit MCU films. I did a whole day of. I watched Thor. The full films that I watched were Thor 1, from 2011, and Thor: The Dark World from 2013, because they are two ones that I've never seen. I didn't watch all of Thor Ragnarok because it was kind of like cringy as fuck, and I didn't really want to sit through all of that, but also because I've seen it before and I have a general understanding of what it's about. Also, because that video was about Thor's character arc, so that was it wasn't really a film review. I tried my hardest to not talk about the film points that weren't relevant to Thor's character arc, but I knew a lot of that film wasn't relevant to Thor, like as a character. Basically, all the stuff on Sakaar is just not important, as I highlight in that video. But then I also looked through Endgame and through Infinity War for all the Thanos stuff, all the Thor stuff. I probably should have watched the 2 Avengers films, and I would have watched all of these if I'd given myself 2 days, but I procrastinate chronically. I need to say spoilers, but I'm going to get to... This is going to be a non-spoiler bit. I'm going to do this little bit, so if you don't want spoilers, you don't have to. I did not like this film. I didn't. I would be lying if I said that I had neutral or even positive expectations. I thought the film was going to be bad, but it was bad in ways that I didn't expect. I think I hate Taika Waititi. Apparently some of the, I think he did Jojo, I've heard that he did Jojo Rabbit, and I've heard from loads of people that that's good. So maybe Taika Waititi just hates the MCU, in which case he should probably never direct another another film ever again. But I think this is bad in ways that people won't expect. It's like Ragnarok times by like 10. It's more Ragnarok 2 than Thor 4. Thor the original and Thor and the Dark World are so completely separated from like whatever the fuck this was and what Ragnarok is. That it's basically like it's hardly they're both. It's strange that they're both about the same character because they could be about completely different people. It's just weird that it's. I would not. This is not something I would recommend going to see. I don't know how well this will do as a film because I saw it with two of my friends. One of them thought it was shit, and one of them thought it was mostly not good scenes. So I don't know how this will play. I don't think this will play well to a general audience. I think it will. I don't think it'll do as bad as things that have been actual flops, like Eternals and Shang-Chi, things that have just been like box office poison at the box office. But I think it might do something like Doctor Strange 2, which I think generally had like a good. I think it'll do well for a little bit, and then I think it'll tank. This is not a film people will ever see ever again. I don't think there's enough replay value to get into. As of terms of something that I think is quite something that I like to discuss about. I haven't really got into it on my channel loads, but it is the MCU aspect. If you don't know what the MCU is, it's a term coined by Nerdrotic. I'll leave his video where he talks about that. But it's basically you've got a character, a derivative character, which is Jane Foster Thor, who I'll call Lady Thor, or maybe Female Thor, because she's called that in the film. They call her Lady Thor at the end, but I'll talk about that a bit later on. But most people just call her Female Thor because it's what she is. She's Female Thor, and it's a sign of just changing, not innovating with a character, but it's just changing. And I think Jane Foster is a lot more interesting than a lot of, as an idea, as someone like Jane Foster maybe if she wasn't Thor, if she was someone else, if she had her own sets of powers. But I think as an idea, Jane Foster getting superpowers is like an alright idea. And I think it's a concept that could work. You would expect this to be a subversion film, right? So Thor, it's advertised, this is a Thor film, but it's got female Thor in, that's clear from the advertising. There's no way you can miss Jane Foster was going to be in this as the mighty Thor. And you would think it would be a bait and switch, and that it would be all about female character, and that she would be terrible, be like Captain Marvel where she has no development, or even like Mulan from, just talking general Disney, like Mulan from that film, where all her struggle is that she's got to learn she's just got to be herself, which is naturally better than everyone. That is literally the message. The Mulan remake. And it's kind of like that. I wouldn't say that this is an MCU film, and I would be surprised. I think it's, don't get me wrong, it's bad. I would be surprised if people came out and say that this is a film that really tries to push the, like, feminist, like, it's subverting, like, Thor. Because Thor, I've heard someone describe it as, and I can't remember, a friend said it to me, and he was quoting something else, but I can't remember what it was, that this is basically an MCU rom-com, and it's about Jane and Thor. That's the heart of the film. It is as a love story, basically. So it's a continuation of what the Dark World is about, basically. I don't know. Is this spoiler territory? I'm just telling you what the central part of the film is. I'm not gonna tell you the events. I'm really bad at doing things because I've got a memory like a sieve. I don't know. I should probably get that checked. But yeah, I would be surprised if people come out and call this an MCU bait and switch film. I think it was bad for other reasons, which is good because it's nice to have a film that is just plainly bad because it was written terribly. The script was like, I don't know, I can't think of an apt analogy, but it was really bad. It was probably one of the most atrocious film experiences I've ever had in the cinema. It was a nice one. It was the Everyman. I'd not recommend it. It's bad for reasons other than woman Thor. That's not. That's barely in this film. It is a minor part of the film. It does produce some like what the fuckery, but that's not really that. I'd be surprised if that's harboured in as a major point about why Thor: Love and Thunder is bad. But I do not recommend this film. So yeah, no, I'm gonna be going through my notes. Basically, I'm gonna be trying following along the plot. But I just might not. I might not do this. I might not do. I might not do that correctly. But I do just want to say, I would definitely recommend, if you are going to see this, I would definitely recommend going to see. If you're going to go see this film, I would definitely recommend seeing the other films in the Thor sort of series, just to really get an idea of what. See, I think that helps. I'm actually really glad that I did what I did in preparation for the film. It was a lot of effort that probably isn't going to pay off in the way that I wanted it to, but I think it helped me understand what a lot of the problems with the story of the film was. But anyways, we're going to get into spoilers now. Alright, so the opening, and this is a narrative thing, opens with the backstory to Thor the God Butcher. He's in a desert. He's like a religious man. He's got a daughter. Daughter's dying in the desert because they have no sustenance. I don't know what the context to the character is, but shit's been fucked up basically. Everyone's dead apart from them two. Child dies, and of course the man, he walks off a little bit and he just happens to see an oasis, which is the home of his god, which apparently I don't think he's ever actually named in the film, but apparently according to Wikipedia, his god is Rapu. The god part is a really strange element in this film, but I'm going to get to that. But the god is kind of like an asshole and says, "Oh, there is no afterlife." Basically, the god he just calls him fucker and tells him to shut up and die. And they were celebrating the death of this guy who conveniently has the only weapon that can apparently kill gods. But it makes you think, why? How did Thor, like, it's apparently is one of the ways to kill a god, and it just makes it easier. The sword is fucking stupid, or what is it called? The Necro Sword. It's just stupid MacGuffin. It allows him to kill the unkillable, basically. I think this is a stupid, like, the daughter dying in, like, a desert thing. I think it's really disconnected and it's really contrived because this god is just like a prick and he's, like, for no reason. He's not concerned about losing all of his followers. He says there will be more. It's like, bro, your planet is like a desert now, presumably. Who the fuck is going to come here and start worshipping you? I really think that it would have been better to actually connect it more to Thor Ragnarok. This is just an idea, so you can fucking take this or leave this. But if it was, the Thor the God Butcher, which I really thought was called the God Slayer, because it's just, God Butcher is just like, rolls off the tongue less than God Slayer. I guess it sounds more serious. I thought it could have been they were on Asgard when Thor, like, to really make it personal, because this film is supposed to be about his inner reflection. Who is Thor as a character, right? We're looking at his decisions. What has happened throughout his history in this MCU? Who is Thor? Thor's trying to find his destiny. So it could have been that Thor that not everyone on Asgard was saved when they literally caused Ragnarok and everyone fucking was killed by Surtur. So it could have been that the child died. Like, they could have got off in a little Asgardian spaceship, for instance. His daughter was all, like, burnt. She died in the spaceship. Spaceship crashes on another planet. And then maybe they could have... The spaceship crashes with the other planet. And maybe they could have seen one of the Norse gods. Or something. And he could have been like... oh shit, or like someone who's like, I don't know, like another god maybe, and he's like, oh, I need help. Like, I've lost my people, and the god's like, yeah, why should I give a fuck? So he somehow gets the Necro sword and fucking kills the god, and that starts his rampage, because the gods, or it could have been that the daughter dies on the planet, because the god didn't help her, or, so, like, he prayed to the Norse gods, and it didn't work. I don't know, I just felt if it was more personal, then it could have actually, could have been better. that opening bit and the whole Gore the God Butcher. Let's talk about Gore the God Butcher, alright? And this gets into another thing. The humour is not really funny. This is a comedy film. This is like a rom-com, kind of. It's not as much of a rom-com as She-Hulk is going to be, which is literally, this is a side comment. Who the fuck thought to make... Because that is basically the superhero equivalent of a film made for a 40-year-old women demographic, something like Bridgerton, where it's like, oh my god, I'm 40 and I use Tinder to like, because I'm a big Greek, I'm the jolly green giant. Fuck, cut that out. This is going to fuck. Alright, I use Tinder and I'm like a jolly green giant woman in my like 40s. She's like in her 40s or 30s. You decide to make that a Marvel show. This is aimed at teenagers. By the way, they don't want to watch this shit. She-Hulk could be epic. It could be like Daredevil. It's a court drama. People love court dramas. Better Call Saul is a great fucking show. I still need to go through that, because I really want to see how it ends without being spoiled, because I'm really interested as to what happens. Action with She-Hulk action. Not that way. I mean, like, action fight scenes. Me pummeling my fists together didn't help that, because you can't see that. And then court drama and fighting. You'd be like Daredevil. Everybody loves Daredevil. Everyone loves court dramas. Everyone loves fight scenes. She-Hulk is literally the perfect thing for a TV show, but they're going to fuck that up. Anyways, so romance. It's a comedy. This is completely subjective, and there was this one fucking person in this cinema who laughed at every single joke, including some things that were not even jokes. Like, so that's how I'm unsure. My friends found it funny. I probably didn't find it funny because I'm a cunt. So, so maybe I don't just like. I find weird shit funny. Here's a clip of something I find funny.
Get this. Doing your mom. Doing your mom? That's just insulting!
Genuinely distressing.
But I guess part of your enjoyment of this film is how hard you laugh at shit. But I've got a little bit of the comedy. But I'm going to start with the gore butcher, the gore. There's a bit where so the plot is alright. The God Butcher is he's gonna kill all gods, including gods that aren't even in the fucking Marvel universe, right? I looked it up. I kind of looked it up, but there aren't all gods in the Marvel universe. I'm kind of a comic noob, so like I don't really know a lot of stuff, but like from what I've heard, DC is the one where it's like every fucking god is like true. They all like exist somehow. And Marvel is like, oh, it's just really the Norse, and then there's like Zeus and Hercules. Like they're just kind of there, but not every pantheon exists. Because obviously, sometimes you're gonna get clashings. People doing the same things. Thor's with the fucking Guardians. I don't know. This is gonna be a mess. I can't go. Spoilers. This is probably best if you've seen the film, which is ironic because in all my fucking licensed game videos, I'm always talking about how you need to see you need an understanding of what the film's about in order to understand the game. But yeah, okay, so Gore in the trying to kill Thor in the new Asgard settlement, which is really fucking stupid, because that is like, so Asgardians, surely they're not humans like Asgardian, like they are humanoid, but surely they should be like Numenorians in the sense that they are humans but elder. They will live hundreds at least. So Aragorn lived to be like 200 or something. It was 100 or 280, I think. Or at most, like gods live like 5,000 years, I think. So maybe if they lived like 100 years. But they're in a settlement in Norway, and all of the fucking children... This is the second generation we're following, by the way, because this is after Endgame. This is in like 2023 or something, and they settled right after Endgame. So, they've already started, like, there's already been a baby boom, apparently. Heimdall has a child. When did that happen? But I'll talk about that in a bit. Later on, at least. But they're not even, the children aren't even, like, Norwegian. They're fucking Americans. They didn't even think about that. So apparently, all of the, like, when I said in the video, Thor got all of the Asgardians off world to preserve the culture of Asgard out in the stars, because Asgard's not a place, it's a people, and Asgard is only as much those people as long as they carry the culture of Asgard. They no longer do that. So where is Asgard even really anymore? Milky cups of tea. They always help. But yeah, God the Gorkabuk, he comes into the place, the new Asgard, and he swipes away all the children. Shadow monsters, Mjolnir, Lady Mjolnir. It's like in the comic, Jane Foster is Thor because she got cancer, but she doesn't. She's got like, I don't know. It's just really weird because she's got like, I don't know shit about like. I'm not an expert, and this is not for the. It's like she's like 6 months in to like stage 4 terminal. Like she dies of it. She's killed by it at the end of the film, and because using Mjolnir drains her energy to do that. I guess. But she, like in the comic, I've seen a screenshot where she's like bald because of the chemotherapy, but she doesn't look physically affected at all, like apart from the end, so I have no idea. Anyways, that wasn't fun. Let's talk about something more fun. So Jane Foster, okay, yeah, she calls out to me. I'm going to talk about all the woman Thor stuff later on, but Thor and Jane Foster see each other. Ooh, so scandalous. It's like that little bit in the trailer where Thor's wearing the stupid ass hat. You can see that, but he takes all the children and he takes them to the Shadow Realm. The most verisimilitude breaking name ever. The fucking Shadow Realm. What? Where for some reason, I don't want to talk about that yet. So Heimdall's child knows his eye ability. Apparently the eye ability is not like genetic, or it's not. Apparently it's taught. Thor can do it, and that enables him to like project himself. It's not how Heimdall's powers work. He can like see nearly everything. He can see things that are not hidden in presumably just the 9 realms, and not like the whole universe, because that's a bit overpowered. But it means that he can like fucking project himself. The child, who's called Axel, because the music, guys. I think Taika Waititi might like Guns N' Roses and all that 80s metal. I could tell because of the 80s aesthetic of the trailer and the logo, which is overplayed, by the way, by the year 2022. The 80s aesthetic is fucking over. No, he's like, I could tell that by the way he uses and that is gonna peak so hard. Like, he uses the songs from fucking Megamind, which I'm not saying you can't use the songs from Megamind, but the thing is, it breaks my immersion. when it appears back in black, and all I'm thinking of is when Megamind is fighting the ginger kid in that film, big blue man. What was I talking about? Yeah, Thor learns his powers. He force projects himself into the cage in the Shadow Realm, and he's like, hey, I remember this place. Oh, it's the Shadow Realm. He goes to tell King Valkyrie. Because what the fuck? And Jane Foster, that they're going to go do that, and then they do that. When they go to the Shadow Realm, it's all like monochrome, but in the Spirit Bomb, in the Skype call from The Last Jedi, it was not monochrome. It was in full colour. And when we see the kids all talking, and they're all talking stories about Thor, Axel's being a real big boy, it's not in monochrome. But the Gog Slayer, this is what my original point was from probably about 10 minutes ago. He's like, oh, hey kids, you're talking about Thor cutting off things' heads, Thanos' head. Well, I'm going to act like an idiot. Here's this little eel thing. Oh, ripped its head off, and then he throws it at the children and they all scream, and then he like disappears. I think Gog the Butcher Slayer was I liked his design. I'm not familiar with the character, but I liked his design. I think he's better than Malekith in that I like Malekith's half-faced thing throughout like the most of the film, but I think he's more. I like him more as a villain design, but he's just so fucking boring. Like, he acts but he doesn't really have any presence other than, ooh, icky shadow monsters. But I don't think, like, they were trying to make him seem like a joke, like he's an idiot or something, but also some of the other comedy that I didn't like. There was the bait and switch right at the start in the Guardians part with the Blue Man group, I think. They were like, oh, Thor, these Owl City have taken over our sacred glass temple that kind of looks like three hookahs put together. Don't know why we did that. But they have taken it as our most sacred institutional ritual religion. And he's like, okay then. Whoom! And then he goes up through it and he defeats all the guys and I'm like, yay! And then Thor's like talking about, we did a good job. And then it all collapses behind him and it's like, ha ha ha, funny. It's like, and that reminds me, and specifically, I was talking to my friend about Thor 1, and I was saying there's a part in it where he goes up to the Destroyer, which is being controlled by Loki, and he's like, do not hurt these people, just kill me. And Loki powers down the eyes, and you think he's going to do it, but he slaps Thor across the face, like backhands him instead of fucking lasering him to death, so that there's a chance. And it looks like he's dead, but the thing is, that's not played off as a joke. The music doesn't stop, and then it plays the epic part, and there's no like whack moment like in Ghostbusters 2016 where they're firing the proton pack and it goes really limp in the subway tunnel. There's no of that. It's just like, oh yeah, something you didn't expect happens. Maybe you'll be like, oh, or maybe you'll be like, haha. maybe you'll do that. But yeah, I just don't think, like, there's a lot of that in Ragnarok, and I just think bait and switch comedy can sometimes be funny, but it's just not very good. There was the God of Dumplings, which was called, like, Bao. I only put it in as a joke because everybody around me laughed, and I was just like, come on now. There's the bit that's at the end of the trailer where he gets his clothes flicked off by Zeus, but what it doesn't show, it shows his horse, right? And that I swear there's like an article that says like, oh, it's the MCU's gayest film. It's like, what? Because it showed man ass. No, that's for the ladies, obviously, because it's Chris Helmsworth. That's why they put it in there, and I guess it's kind of gay. I don't know. What is gay? That's a good talking point. Yeah, but the bit that it doesn't show is then it pans onto his back, onto his bare back, and it shows Loki, a tattoo of Loki's helmet, and it says like Rip Loki or something, and it's like, film, am I supposed, because bearing in mind, the Loki from Loki is apparently not actually, like, Loki died when Thor strangled him, so his brother is, like, dead forever in this timeline. Oh, time travel was such an awful fucking addition to the MCU, but brother's dead. So is it trying to be like, oh haha, and someone says that Thor got humiliated. I think it's either Jane Foster or Valkyrie. They says that he got humiliated. It's like, was I supposed to be like laughing when it said, when it showed, oh, Thor like cared about his brother, but because man got tattoo with like his dead brother? What? Was that supposed to be funny? I don't really get that. Basically everything in the God City, what was it? Omnipotent City. Basically every joke in that was a non-stop joke scene. The only joke I've kind of liked there was the fact that Zeus was actually, I'm pretty sure he had some kind of European accent, but I'm pretty sure it was a Greek one, and that was actually pretty funny. So I was like, hey, that's a clever idea, because normally Zeus is like a big booming voice, like in Hercules, but it's just like, I'm Zeus, I'm a Greek person. Shit, that was good. Then there was screaming. You'll have seen it in the thumbnail. The little goats. They're actually like based on something from like Norse mythology. They're all throughout the film, because he gets them at the start, and it's this fucking screaming goat. It's like the screaming goat meme. That's like, I'm gonna look up the date. I want to see how hard this is expired. I've already looked up screaming goat, and it says, it's the screaming sheep. Funny goats scream like humans. This is literally from 2012 to 2013. Is the screaming goat real? Alright, it's actually a sheep. The screaming goat. Okay, well, people think it's a goat, but it's literally a 2012 meme. It's 10 years old. There are people watching this film who are younger than screaming goat meme. And it's just like, one, it's really fucking old. Like, it's like Fortnite in Endgame, and it's like, what are those in Black Panther? It's just like, come on. Like, I get Fortnite was like a paid promotion, so they could have had it in the background, but they fucking pointed it out. It was goddamn front and center. So that was pure bullshit, and they use it too much. And another meme they use too much is when Thor talks to Stormbreaker and Mjolnir like lovers, basically. Okay, so there's a part where basically Stormbreaker is fucking fucked because Stormbreaker generates the Bifrost in this film, even though that's not how the Bifrost works, right? The Bifrost is created by Heimdall because of that whole mechanism system in Asgard, presumably. Well, that's the gateway system. It's then fixed in Thor 2, but the Stormbreaker doesn't create the Bifrost. That's completely not how it works. But I guess it does now. But yeah, there's a part where he's like, he's on this fucking ship while they're going to the Shadow Realm, and he's like to Stormbreaker, hey, pretty weird that we've got my ex-weapon on board, and then he pours a beer on it, and it's like, wow, this is that sometime this will be funny. Like after the 15th time, this will become a joke eventually. It makes you look at Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, which for those I've never expressed the opinion on this on either of my channels, I don't think, but that film is in my opinion the unfunniest Austin Powers, because a lot of the jokes that are good the first time that will some of them I didn't laugh at, it then decides to use like again, and it's just like, oh come on, like it was not funny the first time, why would I laugh the second time? This film does that, but it plays the jokes 16 times, repeating jokes twice across a film, once near the start and once near the end. I now look at that as fucking comedic genius. Like, come on. Oh, speaking of jokes, there's a scene where it, like in Ragnarok, when Loki is pretending to be Odin on Asgard, it's the scene of Loki's death in the Dark World, but like dramatized and made to look fucking stupid. And that's something that I guess this makes me sound like a total fucker, but like, it's just really annoying when it's like, oh, look how fucking ridiculous and stupid this thing is. It's like, oh, come on. Can't you just be like, oh, look at how cool this scene was, where it's like they have an emotional heart to heart, but it's like, oh look, he's not dead. That's the snap. That's the snap hug. And it's like, no, this was just fucking stupid. And they do that with Thor's with Odin's death in Ragnarok and Hela's arrival. By the way, Hela's played by Melissa McCarthy. She's not in the rest of the film. So if Melissa McCarthy makes you not want to live and not want to see the film, that's your only reason. She's not in it for very long. So, but that just pisses me off, because it's like when they use the old costumes, like in fucking WandaVision, when Vision dresses up in his comic costume, it's basically say, look how gay this is. It's like, no, it's fucking cool, come on. Korg was also less funny, I think, in this one. Like, I'm alright when he just goes, hey, I'm Korg, I'm a rock. Like, I think he's better in Ragnarok, but he gets pretty old when he just keeps fucking talking. Guardians didn't need to be in the film, they're in it for the start, and then Thor leaves because he needs to go do some shit. He goes to go track down the God Butcher. I hate like all this. Okay, so like I like this. This is a direct comparison. I like in Thor 1, for example, I like some of the jokes where it makes you feel like the events of the films actually have like an impact on the wider world, and like affect the general populace. So I like how, for example, in the aftermath of the Battle of New York with the Chitauri in Homecoming, it allows people to get tech and shit. I like that idea, but I also like how, for a bit of a more small scale, in Thor 1, when the hammer lands before S.H.I.E.L.D. can sort of clear off that area and study what it is, people are like making a game out of trying to lift it or move it, and I think that's like, it's like, oh, that's nice. I feel like that's what would happen. Like, that whole scene is just gold. It's just a nice scene. But it's like the fucking Rogers the Musical thing from Hawkeye. It's like, oh, New Asgard is a tourist destination. Why? It is just a literal little fishing village full of refugees. Like, I get that it's got a king. Like, apparently it's a country. Can't it just be like what? Like a little... It's barely... Well, it must be, because it's got a king. So it's a kingdom, which is a country. But it's a town. So I guess it's maybe like a subsidiary power to the Norwegian government? It's like a fief of Norway? I don't know. But it's like, oh, look at this hammer that I just found. It's in this... Oh, we've got a tourist attraction, and it's the broken hammer. And it's like, oh, I think all that shit fucking sucks. Where it's like, oh, I just don't like it. Oh, it's just cringe, and it just makes me go, ugh. Alright, I'll talk about the MCU stuff now. There's not many MCU moments in this film, like I said in the non-spoiler part, but a definite one is when the God Butcher calls Jane Foster Lady Thor. This is in the final battle, right? Okay, so they've gone to the Shadow Realm. They've learned that they beat... God Butcher doesn't kill them all. But they learn that he has to get Stormbreaker to generate a Bifrost. You know, because God Butcher's central thing is that he starts killing gods to get attention, and then he's like, hey, no, wait, I could do this more efficiently. So he finds out he needs to get to Eternity, which is the big galactic boy from the Marvel Cosmic stuff that you kind of get a glimpse of at the end of near the end of the Infinity Gauntlet comic, which I might make if they're gonna start putting that shit into the MCU, I might make a video on that. Tell me if you want to do that. This actual discussion, this is gonna be but yeah, so he needs to get to a place where there's like a statue of... Everyone fucking bullying me about this, because he takes the kids there to this place. Where is that? Omnipotent City, Shadow Realm. It turns out to be a ruse for God to take Stormbreaker, to use the Bifrost to enter Eternity. He's going to enter him. Oh my. He steals it. Okay. So he goes to somewhere to open the portal to Eternity. the children, that's a whole other thing. But they're all fighting, and the God Butcher is fighting because Thor's trying to remove the hammer while God Butcher's fighting Jane Foster, and he calls her Lady Thor. And this really felt like a moment that was like, fuck you, everyone who has ever dared to fucking say female Thor, because I can see you all doing it out there. So she said, actually, it's, this is a complete paraphrasing, but she's like, actually, it's the mighty Thor. But if that's not... So it's basically like, no, I am fucking Thor, you bigot. What? Bigot? I can't put another word in because it rhymes with the other one. What was it? Yeah, so she said, if you can't call me that, call me Dr. Jane Foster. And it's like, alright, okay, so it's conflicting messaging because it's like, oh no, I am Thor, but I'm my own character as well. I'm not Thor Odinson. But yeah, I think that's... So the fact that she's the mighty Thor, that's supported by the ending prologue where Cogs. So the opening after the God Butcher thing, the opening thing is like, Cook, hello, my name's Cook. I'm going to talk about this is the worst accent impression anyone has ever done. My name's Cook. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about Thor. He's a space Viking, even though he's not a Viking. The Vikings were the Norsemen who were human. The Asgardians are not fucking space Vikings. It makes it sound dumb and stupid, and I really hate that. Oh, it's fucking annoying. But he's like, and then at the end he's like, okay, we're going to be talking about the hero Dr. Jane Foster, aka the Mighty Thor, and then in the credits they call her fucking the Mighty Thor. So that feels like the most MCU moment, but also the fact that she is just worthy for no reason. So Thor is like, Jane Foster, hello, it's me, Thor. You are worthy because you, in the first film, remember the first film, you taught me how to be, this is my Chris Hemsworth impression, you taught me, we don't need to get into the Australian one, you taught me how to be how to be a guy. You know what you fucking did. You helped me become humble, as I talked about in my video. It's the part when I said aside from his relationship, not just with Jane Foster, it was with Eric Selvig, who's in this film for a brief moment, God bless Stellan Skarsgård, and Jane Foster. Apart from what makes Thor worthy? I discussed this. What makes Thor worthy is his humility, is the fact that he doesn't just want to be a warrior and fight to fight, and he doesn't want to be like, oh yeah, power, glory, I'm going to go to Valhalla. They never say Valhalla, but Valhalla signifies that idea, basically. And it's like, what makes Thor worthy was that the apex peak point was the self-sacrifice to the Destroyer. He said to the Destroyer, do not kill all these innocent people. Kill me instead. Because that's your fucking beef, look. You want me, look. You don't want these people. That makes Thor fucking... That's why when he gets hit and he's nearly dead, that's why it plays the thing where it's like, whoever is worthy shall wield the power of Thor. Self-sacrifice is what fucking makes Thor worthy to carry his power. What has she sacrificed? What has Jane Foster sacrificed of her own doing? I'm not saying she's not a hero, but she's not made any particularly great sacrifices. So why is she Thor? Like she helped in a capacity. Like I'm not saying she's a bad person her character's not bad or anything, but like, is she really worthy to pick up Mjolnir? Mjolnir literally reforges itself. How does that work? The only other implication that I can get is that Thor says to the hammer, because he talks to the hammer because he's I thought I just had a little goblin sound there. Because he's a little crazy person, and he says, "All right, Thor, I'm Thor. Hammer, keep Jane safe, okay, always." And then it's like, okay, all right, apparently, because Odin, he said to the hammer, he placed the enchantment. Whoever will become the power of Thor. He said that, But he was like the All-Father. He was really powerful, really old, really wise, knew a lot about shit. Really powerful, so his word, that's an enchantment. Thor says it as an offhand comment to his hammer, and it worked. And the fact that that works is backed up by when the children are all fighting the God Butcher with this stupid, over-flashy, uncomplicated, unemotional ending fight against the shadow monsters and the God Butcher. Because Thor literally says, alright, okay, you have all these weapons for the time being. He says to his hammer, like, he's holding it like a goddamn microphone. He's not, but let's pretend he is, because I don't think he did anyways. Because that's funny, he's like, power of Thor temporarily to all of you until the fight scene ends, right? Okay. So apparently anyone can just... You could say something to the hammer, and it would become true. The only reason I could think of anything else is because Jane Foster, that she needs to be Thor for the story to work. So she's not really worthy, but she insists, she's like, I am worthy, I am Thor. It's like, Thor is like, oh, you should stay and rest because you're like dying. So you should like give up the hammer because it's like draining your power, draining your life force for some reason. And she's like, no, I am Thor, I was chosen, I was worthy. It's like, if you've got to say you're worthy, maybe you're not that worthy. Just saying, maybe you're not actually that great if you have to be like, I am God. But the only other reason that it could be is because she has to be for the story. And why is she in the comic? Because MCU. Because it's for turning a established male character into a female one. But yeah, there wasn't really much. Korg is confirmed as gay, however... if you really wanna, like, it doesn't fucking matter. So Cronins, they're not from the comics. They're from the MCU. So Cronins are basically if you want a video game analogy, the best way that I could do it is a Legend of Zelda analogy. So the Gorons are a rock people. There are only male members of that species. No one knows how they reproduce because that's not a topic of a children's game franchise for some reason. There's not been a whole game about Goron reproduction, but people assume that they asexually reproduce because in Majora's Mask there's an elderly Goron and there's a baby Goron. Baby Gorons have to get somewhere. It's like how in Lord of the Rings when Gimli says, people think dwarves sprout from the ground. Stuff like that. There's kind of a trope about rock creatures springing up from nowhere, so it's not real. Like, this is barely mentioned. This is said like one, like that Korg is talking about. Because I said this film's about love, and really the only way, because I'm going to talk about this in another video, the really only way I can is that love is used to explain everything. There is literally a bit at the end of the film. The God Butcher is about to ask eternity, because he gets to eternity. He should die because the sword is broken. But he conveniently manages to get through long enough, stumble to the portal. You literally see Eternity's feet. He's got like pointed shoe feet in the comic, but no, you can see his whole ass toes! His galactic toes! Wait, what? I lost track there thinking about the galactic toes. But he's about to ask, and Thor's like, no! You don't actually want to kill all the gods. You just want love. And he's like, the fact that you just say to me. And he's like, no, because everybody wants love, don't you know? And it really just, if for anyone who's seen Death on the Nile, which is the sequel, it's a famous book, the Agatha Christie book. It's a sequel, the film, Murder on the Orient Express. When it was a book, it was probably a bit of a cringe post as well. But it is basically... this is a preview because I really want to do a video about Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, but to sum it up in the quickest way possible, Murder on the Orient, this is an important analogy, Murder on the Orient Express, important tangent, Murder on the Orient Express is like, people who murder, they have to have something, like, to kill another human being, it takes something, you need to be like, your soul needs to, like, not be whole anymore, basically, but it's just a bit in the Death on My Line, it's like, oh, people do crazy things when they're in love, and that is like a serious point, and that is essentially the point of this film. And I fucking hate it. If you want a film, seriously, if you want a film that is like a good, well, like, obviously in my opinion, but I feel it's like a good film to be about. Oh, to say, oh, this film's about love. There's a film. It's got something's got to give. I think with Jack Nicholson. It's on Netflix. I think that's a really good film, and I would say, hey, that's a film for men and for women. Just saying. I'd say it provides good messages to both men and women, and I would say solidly that is a film about love that explores love. This film uses love as a plot duct tape to cover up its shit. It's not even duct tape. What's that really shitty, like thin, like sellotape? But that's worse than that doesn't do anything and no one uses it because it's literally the most inefficient thing ever. That is essentially, love is that in this film to cover up the plot holes. But what was I talking about? Yeah, Thor says love, bro. How did this relate to gay Korg? You're literally watching Calico unravel right now live on audio. So his species, like, so there's a scene where they're on the boat and they're having a romantic, so they're talking about their relationship and about life, whatever, some dumb shit, Jane and Thor, and Korg and Valkyrie are in the hold, and Korg's like, oh, my dad met another guy's dad, and they had a rock baby. Like, they go into a volcano. They, like, hold hands and close their eyes or something, and then a baby is created, and he's like, oh, don't you think Thor would be a good parent? Basically, that was the whole point. But it's like, Korg is just a head by that. He's, like, just a face by that point. But none of that really matters, I don't think. But, yeah, it's not mentioned that for the stuff about Korg it's mentioned like literally twice in the film. So it's mentioned at that point where he's talking with Valkyrie about how the love he's experienced in his life. And I could say you could not say that is, I guess it technically is homosexual because it's a same sex, but they are rock people. So they asexually reproduce, but it's like a mating ritual that needs two men. It's more alien sex than gay sex. It's alien baby creating ritual rather than gay sex. And Korg gets like a husband, and he gets a male. I don't know. Husband kind of implies that they're married. There is other male who performs this ritual child. It's just weird because it's not human. They're not humans. They're rock people. So I'm like, I don't know how he gets a fucking husband. All right, and I like how he had the gay mustache. I think that was funny. By that point, I wanted to die, so I didn't really laugh. But I like that detail. And they say Valkyrie was in love with the woman who we see die in Thor fucking Ragnarok. Yeah, I didn't think when I said that sentence, so I'm really surprised that even happened. Yeah, so apparently they said that she's bisexual. This is literally barely in the film. So never mind editing it out for, I guess, not China anymore because they don't want any more Marvel shit. Whatever Eastern audiences, foreign audiences, whatever foreign audiences where the Korg and the Valkyrie shit won't get put into the film. It was barely already in for Western audiences. So that's a whatever. That's like it's not even a talking point basically, but I just put it in. But they were relatively brief. I put implied lesbian because it's never said that she likes a man, but I guess it's bisexual according to the thing. And it says here, this is a thing on the Wikipedia, Waititi said Valkyrie had to adjust to the bureaucratic aspects of ruling away from the battlefield, such as dealing with the infrastructure and economy of New Asgard and hosting delegates from other countries. She's a shit... No, when I said, I doubt Valkyrie would be a good ruler, She is. She's a shit ruler who wants to go out and fight. This is a cat. Okay, this is going to be the one of the last major. I'm just gonna look through all the shit. I'm gonna look through all the shit to see if I Oh yeah, all right, okay. I'm gonna talk about the ending. All right, so Eternity. He's like, oh no, you don't actually want to kill all the gods, and he's like, oh, I don't want to kill. Oh my god. So apparently, because he doesn't go through with it, like he's literally started committing genocide. But it's okay, I guess, because his daughter died. Like they kill Zeus. By the way, this is a bit of hypocrisy. Thor and co steal Zeus's weapon. They steal his thunderbolt, which is apparently also just an item and not like the actual thunderbolts. I don't know what's going on. He's gonna give it. Right, he's gonna give. He's like, oh, I don't. Daughter dead. Yeah, they take Zeus's thing, which is an item for some reason, and they think they've all killed him. They are now killing gods. And it's like, I guess that's okay because Zeus was like an asshole. I don't know. That whole part is weird. Everything about Omnipotent City, I never want to think about ever again because it was either strange or stupid. I don't know. So yeah, so he wishes back his child. Jane Foster dies for some reason because Eternity is always shown. He's super massive because he's like the whole universe, but he's on like a white background because it's comic. But he's in like a water. He's taller than all the humans, but he's not that tall. So the child comes back, and in the water, that's the ground, you see Singularity. Apparently, she's just called Love because love and thunder. They say that at the end. Corgi's like, oh, to the Thor. So Jane Foster's dead. Everyone heralds her as a hero, and I think that's another MCU moment. So she was actually the bestest ever, but she's not the bestest ever when she's alive. So it's like too good for this single Earth for this sinful Earth kind of. So it says like, oh, Thor Thor and the little child. By the way, saddling a child onto a man, onto anyone, but it just happens to be Thor. That has nothing to do with him. That is really going to foster good relationships, especially when she's a bit of a rude person who has like she's like Eternity's child. She was like spawned from Eternity in the image of the little girl instead of just God's daughter brought back to life. Don't understand how that works. But in the water you see that she is Singularity, and I'm going to put an image because I don't know how many people know about Singularity, but I learned about Singularity through the Marvel Future Fight game. She's one of the characters, but she's like a little female Eternity, basically. She's all cosmic, but they're going to come back in Guardians 2, by the way, for absolute certain. They're going to run into whatever dumb shit happens on that film. But anyways, Thor is like, no, Korg is like, to the people who know, they are known by many names across the universe, but to people who know them, they are known as Love and Thunder. And it's like, oh, come on. That's the biggest oh, come on moment in the whole thing. What was I going to talk about? Two more things, I promise, and then we're going to end the video. Because I've been going for more than an hour. Yay! I love fucking doing YouTube. I guess I just had a lot to say. A lot of this was probably dumb. I hope you all enjoyed this. For people who made it this far, put Kringle in the comments. Put Chris Kringle in the comments section. But alright. So Omnipotent. It was kind of weird because I expected like the gods to be like maybe like a comment, because you know the infamous thing in Batwoman where it's like, where was it? The Batman. White privilege. Wait, I need to look this up. About the okay, so there's a white. So like there's that line that's just like, oh come the fuck on. You didn't have to put that line in, but you fucking did it. There's no line like that in this film, but I thought the gods kind of were going to be like that because it's like they're an upper class of people. They think they're better than everyone. But it's actually kind of weird because it kind of reminded me of like a really cynical like Omnipotent City kind of reminded me of a really cynical portrayal of Hollywood, which is really weird if that's what it is, because it's like they're all sat in their isolated city. They're the upper, they're the elite because well, they're gods. And Zeus talks about orgies a lot. He says the word orgy a lot. My friend was confused as to why they said that, why they put the word orgy in so much. And honestly, I'm confused too about why they said orgy so much. But it's like the Hollywood sex stuff. Oh, I don't even have to. You're already thinking of shit. So it's just. That's just funny. That's just strange if that's what it is. That it's like at Hollywood, they're all sat together, all blowing smoke up each other. They don't want to get involved and they want to wait out the tide of war. Apparently scenes with the Grandmaster and the dwarf from who helped forge Storm thing. They've been cut from the theatrical release. Don't care. I'm not buying this film physically. So yeah, I thought it was just a weird, potentially portrayal of Hollywood. That's really strange. But I want to get in. This is the most serious part about. Not really serious. I feel like the cancer thing was a bit more like actually tonally serious. But this is the thing. This is the linking part. And this is an hour in. I put this at the end. The linking part to the previous video is that I feel that this film is a regression for Thor's character. Because the whole arc of Thor is that it's like, alright, he started off as a warrior. He wanted to fight. He wanted war. He was literally willing to start war with the Dark Elves, with the Frost Giants, because they broke in to try and take the cradle of ice or whatever. He was willing to risk war with them simply for glory, for battle, for honor, and that made him unworthy. He was banished to Earth because he was rash and unwise. He gets over that. He's like, all right, I'm going to be a hero now. He's a hero in For the Dark World, and that's when he learned. That's when the romance stuff sort of happens. That's cut off for like no reason in Ragnarok. When Jane Foster's, they broke up in a throwaway line, guys. Don't worry. And that he ends Thor Ragnarok being like, all right, so I've got if you, it's like, all right, I've gone from I'm like a hero. I save the world. I help people out, and it's like now I'm ready to accept my destiny, and I'm ready to be the king of Asgard. And now he doesn't want to be the king of Asgard. But every person in this is like a regression. Way more. We've never heard of I swear, no one's ever mentioned Valhalla as an afterlife for the Asgardians who die in battle. In fact, I would have thought Valhalla and Folkvanga would have blown up when Asgard was destroyed, because those weren't places anymore. And I think it was the humans of Midgard who go to Valhalla when they die in battle. I think that was the whole point. Whatever. If you're going to base it on Norse mythology, at least try. Like, alright, don't just throw names because people fucking know what Valhalla is. But everyone's like, Valkyrie is like, alright, she's like, oh, I love my people, but being ruler is boring. I want to go and fight and go to Valhalla. And, Sif she sends a distress signal because she's been fighting Gore and God Butcher, and she's like bleeding out and wounded, and she's like, oh no, Thor, just leave me here because I want to die and go to Valhalla. And he's like, oh well, actually, you're dying outside the battle because of a mortal wound you suffered in a battle, so you're not going to go to Valhalla. And she's like, alright, okay, well I'm not in the rest of the film, so it like doesn't really matter anyways. And he's like, oh okay then. Everyone regresses to being like, alright, we're not going to be heroes, we're going to be warriors, we just want to kill and fight shit. When they were fighting the guards, like the hoplite-esque guards in the Omnipotent City, it just felt like this is bloodshed for no reason. Like, I get they're trying to take the thing, but they, like, Valkyrie and a female Thor, they just seemed like really overly warriorish, and that's not where we are in the story. Basically, this is about Thor found out who he was meant. He's not going to be who he was meant to be, because that would end his story. And we can't put Chris Hemsworth in our Marvel movies organically. We can't have his inclusion make sense with his character arc. The point of a connected cinematic universe is definitely not to have an interconnected story that feels like it's all adding up to something that makes sense. Nah, just reset his character. He should already be king by now. And then all the children at the end, Valkyrie teaches them self-defense, and Corgi's like, oh, they all became space Vikings. It's like, no. Oh, shit. People don't fight for fight's sake. They fight because they're fucking heroes. And as well as in, like, the entitlement thing, we're like, I should be Thor. It seems like she's like part of why Mighty Thor wants to be Thor is just because she's living a second life, because it's a bit of adrenaline. They never really conclude. This isn't even a point. This isn't like a plot point or anything. I'm just picking parts out. But it seems like she's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to be a superhero. Oh, that's really cool. It's like, then you're not worthy. That's what Thor 1 is all about. So yeah, major character regression. Thor has... And now he's just been saddled with a child. He's going to be father. There's going to be so many father jokes in the next fucking film. It's going to be all about... they've just saddled him with a new character arc. It's just like, oh, whoops, Mr. Watiti, we ran out of ideas. And he's like, father. And he's like, what? They don't have a child. He's like, oh, just make it the father, please. Please make Thor father, because it'll add a new dynamic when he comes into Guardians 3. They were like, oh, okay then. Also, this film sold out to Direct Line in the UK. Tessa Thompson is the head of this marketing campaign for whatever Direct Line sell. And I bet that has nothing to do with the fact that allegedly she might have done some backstage favours for Mr. Taika Waititi. I bet that has nothing to do with it at all. Speaking of things that are completely coincidences, there was a suspicious amount of CGI artists in this film. I'm not saying anything about anything. There was a lot of rock. I'm sure many people worked on Korg. All I'm saying, it's a bit suspicious. Nothing in this film solves Bionion's fate, though. Also, post-credit scenes. The second one is, oh, she got into Valhalla. Wait, what? Wait! I've just thought. Okay, alright, so Sif. Surely not Thor should know everything about Valhalla, but it's like, Sif couldn't get into a thing because she was into Valhalla. She wouldn't have been able to get into Valhalla because she was bleeding out after the battle. And she was like, that made her want to be like, oh, Jane Foster died of like, her life, she was weakened, so she died outside of battle. Why did she get into Valhalla? Unless Thor was lying to Sif. And I get he does a sort of thing where she's like, oh, I want to die, in like the first one where he's like, she's like, oh, I want to die gloriously in battle, and she's like, and he's like, hey, maybe, like, she's like, oh, people are gonna tell stories about this battle, and he's like, tell them yourself, and it's like, that is actually representing a moral. That's a moral. I think that might have been. That's in 1 or 2, I can't remember, but that's near the end of 1, I think. It's showing Thor's moral change, because at the start he would probably be like, yeah, let's go die in battle, yeah. But in the end, he's like, no, come on, get up. We live to fight another day. Tell the stories yourself. Also, Heimdall didn't die in battle. He was stabbed by Thanos. I'm not a battleologist. Last time I checked, just taking a glaive and going like into someone like once he literally put his spear through. He literally put the big stick point with sharp points at the end through him, and it was like, oh, I guess he can get into Valhalla. Don't know how that works. I didn't think of why did Natalie Portman get into Valhalla until just now. That's complete bullshit. And the other one is because they think they killed Zeus. First post-credit scene is, oh, Zeus isn't actually dead. And he's like, they think they can kill me, that's wrong. You will do it. You track down Thor because he's really mean and he thinks he can flip the bird to the gods. And then you see, and I was like, fucking Hercules. What do you mean Hercules? I thought that, and then it was like, oh, it was Hercules. Who knows who Hercules is from Marvel Comics? The only reason I know him is because I've seen a few panels of the Civil War comic, and I know he's in that. I would bet my britches Hercules is, if he is not in Guardians 3, he will never be in a Marvel film, or he will just get it, or he'll be in like a TV show, or like as a side thing. But I doubt it. Oh yeah, and it seems like kind of a, I guess we're wrapping up now. Like the capture of the Asgardian children, it felt like a bit of like a, obviously it's so they could have the funny epic fight bit at the end where all the children could fight the shadow monsters. Why Thor didn't think of that at the start of the film to stop the god butcher for good right at the beginning of the film, no clue. Somehow he only figured out he could do it later on. Pfft, don't ask questions. How did he get Heimdall's powers? Don't know. But yeah, it just seemed like a bit of a selfish reason for Thor to go after the God Butcher, because he's going to get the children back. He's not going to take down the God Butcher because he's evil and he's butchering the gods. He's just like, oh, it would have made more sense if he was from Asgard. So it's like, oh, my Asgardian child died. Whew, your Asgardian children are now mine. So Thor's like, no, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. Thor could have actually learned something from Ragnarok. I don't know. Anyways, that's been my discussion with myself on Thor Ragnarok. I didn't even try and say the wrong film. On Thor, Love and Thunder. Do not go see this film. Let's just check. Let's check Rotten. I'm just gonna I'm gonna bandicam my shit right now. So that means I need to make my thing into a little window. It's Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes, Thor, Love and Thunder. I'm gonna open this bandicam first of all. Continues rough. Phase 4. Because if you find it funny, and I don't mean to be like, if you enjoyed the film, a lot of people probably will, and I don't wanna piss on your parade on that, really. So if you enjoyed it, like, good for you, like really, but like I didn't, and I'd like to express the fact that I didn't in the form of this video. All right, this is getting up. It should be working now. So Thor: Love and Thunder. Wow. Huh. 68% critics, 84% audience score. 68 in theaters. Fire of Love 100%. 55% all audience. Oh, okay. So 76%. Is that like an average? How do I see? It's saturated and loud and beautiful to behold, but its ungainly plot and willingness to slip into every tonal alley leaves it searching for a point. Yeah, well, it's loud and beautiful to behold. Yeah, it looks nice. It's got flashy colours. If you're an idiot who thinks that flashy colours make for a good film, you probably enjoyed Ragnarok, and you'll probably enjoy this film. God does seem to be onto something. The gods, unfortunately, this movie is about one of them. Well, that's the thing. It's like Taika Waititi wants you to know that he's the kid with red crayon scribbling over a genre that is often more stone-faced than it should be. This is the thing. Making something more fucking not even entertaining. Making something more funnier than it should be. He's the kid with the red crayon, but unfortunately he's an idiot. He's also, right now, he's consuming the crayon. He's eating the crayon, and he's also drawing outside the lines. It's barely half his face. Goofball jollies. It's usual Marvel bloat. No, nowhere near as an unpleasant flop. Fuck this. It's just awful. A fun, gleefully goofy entry into the MCU that places a premise on premium 80s. Love the 80s homage, yeah, you fucking would. fun, hilarious, and silly. Taika Waititi, Bale may be the scariest looking villain yet. Yeah, but he's a fucking awful villain. King Valkyrie, fuck off. This film sucked. It was not an MCU sucked. It was a script suck. It was an unentertaining suck. This was not good. I will never watch this film again. Probably. I have no urge to. It's like with Ragnarok. I just don't want to watch. Can we just start like Thor? I was gonna say this, but people were all like when Ragnarok came out. Oh, it's got so. Oh, the old Thor films were so dark because they were not a sick of colour, which is what these films are like. I get things being brightly stylized and shit, but come on. It's like, oh, they have so many more jokes. Yeah, but the thing is, these new films are perfect encapsulation of the modern Marvel film, where it's just quips every 5 seconds. We can't have something serious happening because something has to be happening on funny screen. It's like in Infinity War where Peter Parker has to say, that really old film Empire Strikes Back, how do you do, fellow children, in the audience, and it's like, ha ha ha, no, it just you could the old Marvel films, they have a bit of fun with the material, but they're still serious. You can't take this film seriously. This film is bullshit. Fuck. Alright, is this my longest video that I'm putting out? I think the one about the Netflix documentary was like 1 hour and 50. I was gonna check one sec. I hope I don't have to do a lot of editing on this. So, by the way, I haven't. Oh yeah, I forgot it's Friday Night Tights. Tonight I haven't seen any other people's reviews. That's mainly I didn't want anyone else's opinion, like on the internet to reflect mine. But this was a face palm. Like I pointed at the screen, like I was doing all the things that it's like, oh, you would exasperate because you want your friends to laugh, or because you've been a bit of a funny man right now. But it's like I like put my head, Oh no, this is the long. If this goes up like pretty much raw, ladies, this is this is gonna be the longest video I've ever made. But I hope it was all right. Thor: Love and Thunder gets a Taika Waititi out of 10. Something that I fucking hate. Take the material more seriously. Stop making shit. What's left in Phase 4, everybody? Come on, we need to get excited for next Marvel product. Woo! Phase 4 Marvel, baby! Phase 4. MCU Phase 4, what's next? Come on, we need to see what banger films are next. Come on, come on, Wikipedia. What is this? What is this? Thor: Love and Thunder. What? Wakanda Forever's coming? Yeah! That was a joke, by the way, this film. But it's like having a mess of the production. The role is T'Challa, not recast, just recast. Come on, it's gonna be about Shuri. It's gonna be bad. Oh yes, it's gonna have Ironheart. Oh, I can't wait for that to be shit. Yes! Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Kang the Conqueror, a variant of the character called He Who Remains. Oh, that's good, and that's gonna lead into an Echo show. Apparently, woo! Yeah! I can't fucking wait. Guardians 3, which is where Thor's gonna return. The Marvels, Captain Marvel. Yes! Everybody's been waiting so hard for a film that's gonna suck. And then Fantastic Four. I hope you've all enjoyed. Oh no, the next thing we've got is She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Oh, she's in her 30s. Sorry, everyone. She's the Jolly Green Giant at 6'7". Bloody hell. No, she's in her 30s. Tatiana Maslany, Untitled Halloween. Werewolf. Don't knock your shit. Secret Invasion, Ironheart. Okay, so it's just bullshit forever. Things you're gonna get prepared to get anally fucked by Marvel forever. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so fucking warm. Don't put that in the video. For the Black person. That's not what it... Shit, alright, Thor Love and Thunder was not a good film. I can't recommend it. But I'm glad, because it made me watch the other Thor films. Hope this wasn't too bullshit. There is going to be chapters, so if you just want a specific portion of the video, you can do that if you want to see me talk about certain things. Hope you've all enjoyed. If you saw the film, tell me what you thought about it in the comments. I read everything, because I don't get so many comments. Apart from if they slip under my radar, which is only when they're on videos that have, like the Savage Sauce, which has, like, over 100 comments. So that when YouTube fucks up, that's the only reason I don't see comments. But I get notifications. Tell me what you thought about this film, and we'll have a discussion about it, I guess. But whoa! I cannot. It was good day out. This ruined it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be seeing you in whatever I get up to next. See you all next time. Goodbye.